So last night I could have potentially broken my camera shooting this video.
How is it that you go about defining good and evil? I'm only using what the gods gave me. I want you to kill one more.
So that's my friend Chris, and he just got that cool laser emitter. Now, it seems from the presets that it's meant to be shot at your house and put like Santa Claus or like Merry Christmas up on your house. It's not as strong as like a concert laser or anything, but it's also a little bit stronger than those lasers that you see in people's yards pointing up at their house instead of Christmas lights. Essentially what happened is he came over with this new laser thing. I've got, one second, let me grab this. All right, so he brought his laser over and I have this, which is atmosphere aerosol. It's designed for video and photo stuff, but essentially it's just haze in a can. Here, I'll show you. This is the shot, no haze, and then I'm gonna haze the room. All right, and this is the same shot with haze. Not that big of a difference for like a YouTube video or whatever, but when you're using lasers, it changes the entire thing. So we were shooting with that laser thing because it just looked so cool and we were getting some really cool shots. And I was like, okay, let's make a video. I've seen this stupid TikTok audio going around, which is the one I use for the video. And I'm like, let's just shoot it. And so I didn't do any research or anything, and we just shot. I posted some stills onto the Zcam Facebook group. And a lot of the people there are really smart and have been doing this stuff for a long time, and they all informed me that that was a really dumb decision and I should not shine a laser near my camera. Now, I intuitively knew this a little bit. I was like, it's probably not a good idea, so we tried to avoid it as much as possible. Pretty much everybody on the Facebook group was like, hey man, you probably broke your camera. The shots look cool, but you probably broke your camera. You should check. I was at work at that point and I'm like, oh fuck, I can't believe it. I can't even check my camera. And I took it out today to take some video to see if it messed up the sensor, and I don't think it did. Thank God. So with that disclaimer of don't shine lasers into your camera, I want to go through the footage and just show you some of the things we did. Waiting for DaVinci Resolve to start up. All right, for this first shot, we just set a light up on this side, and I don't have any barn doors or anything, so we just shot it through a door jamb. So it just made that little slit that he could lean into. And then he just timed the leaning forward like perfectly. So it worked great. So the laser had a function where you could draw different shapes and then change whatever color you wanted on them. So we just drew a circle and emitted it from the laser. And then what Chris did was just leaned. So if this is the plane of the laser, right? He just leaned in so that you could see the shadow cast all the way down where the laser would be. With that stuff, it made it look really cool. So that was awesome. I want to talk about the flicker real quick. The laser projector emits in a certain refresh rate depending on how many curves or details there are in the thing it's projecting. So there was a couple pictures that were really complicated faces or whatever, and that you would see these like, it would just strobe with the refresh rate. But the circle didn't do it too bad. You can see it in the background. But then when we used the red circle, we essentially did the same shot. The refresh rate was a lot more pronounced. Now, I don't think it was a slower refresh rate. It's just maybe the contrast of the color flickering. I have no idea how that works. If anybody knows how that works, let me know, because I would be really interested in that. And then let's show you where this is happening. Okay, we'll just pump up the exposure. Okay, yeah. So you can totally see this is just a normal hallway. I live in a tiny little duplex up in the mountains, so there's always wood paneling everywhere, which was nice because it absorbed a lot of the light and it wasn't too bright, but you can totally still see there's like a light switch right here. There's like a carbon dioxide alarm right there. There's some cabinets here, but you know, it works when you just crush everything down, and every single frame is a different every single frame is a different lighting situation, so you can't really account for like not lighting the side of the wall or whatever. But yeah, So it was set up, let me see if I can find a frame that looks more obvious. Yeah, okay, back here, there's a cabinet at the back of the hallway. There's like a high cabinet, so we just stuck it in there, pointed it down, and had Chris, for most of the shots, stand in between the camera and the laser, so that hopefully we wouldn't get any direct lasers into the camera. That worked out most of the time. The setting we had the laser on was just a random word. So it said like, I think it might have been the Merry Christmas one, but it's like flashing each letter sporadically. It could have been a pattern too, I'm not sure. But then we just sped that up and set the color on the laser machine to random. So it would just shoot a random color. And that's how we ended up with this crazy, each frame looks completely different, is we just sped up the refresh rate of the laser to shoot a different pattern each time. I want to show you guys these two shots real quick. So Chris had the idea with those two shots to just have the camera pan with him as he went from one side of the hallway to the other side of the hallway. And then of course we would use the camera going by the door jamb to like cut to the next shot. This worked out really good, a little bit unintentionally, because the laser is going so crazy in the background. If you're following motion, it kind of focuses you on the motion, because that's the only thing consistent in the frame. And it really draws your eye to it. I really liked how that look turned out. Yeah, so seeing it slow down like that, it shows really how crazy randomized the background is. And then just sped up like that. Looks super cool. Okay, so this is the bad one. We were trying to time Chris dropping in the hallway with the camera movement as well, but I was late, and only by like maybe a couple milliseconds. And as you can see, the laser hits the sensor right here. Yeah. So this is what would cause damage. Thankfully, it is a low wattage laser, and the lens on the front of the thing was like fogged up or whatever, so it was relatively defocused. Still not good, but that's why I think it didn't do any damage. Fingers crossed again. Hope it didn't do any damage. Oh, so the last shot, we were just practicing like timing, like lifting at the same time, and Chris was just messing around with his phone. And I saw him do it once, and he pulled up with his phone, and it lit his face really well. And so I was like, oh, let's just do that for the shot. It kind of fits the song a little bit. But essentially, Chris is like a really talented dancer, so he nailed the motion perfectly. He straightened out his spine at the top of the stand and pulled up his phone like at the exact perfect same time. So that's why it looks really cool.
I want you to kill.
But this is definitely the coolest shot. If I'm ever gonna use a laser for lighting again, or if I do photos or whatever, I'm gonna do this type of setup because it's just so beautiful. Setting up dark background, so it's like the laser's kind of silhouetting the subject, and then just a small key on the face. It's gorgeous. And this just shows like every single frame is completely different. So I just wanted to show my experience working with a laser and what I used for the Haze, which again is this atmospheric aerosol. Not sponsored, but it is super useful. So I recommend getting that if you don't have the money for a Hazer. Yeah, I guess that's it. Bye forever.